I want to tell you a little bit about my morning routine. I've talked often about my morning chair. During the summer, when my garden is so lush, my morning chair is right here. And I keep an opening in front from my chair that peers all the way through this arbor I've created so that I can see at least to the first layer of my garden, which is beyond the arbor and on the other side along a fence there. The garden goes on back farther, but I can do all kinds of things in my morning chair. I can make videos, I can write, I can read the Psalms and find prayers in those. But right outside my door, I can look the other direction right outside my screen door and see what's growing on the other side. Last year, this was the only side of my garden that I had really growing, because to get my garden growing, I had to bring in dirt. I built my garden on top of cardboard. I add dirt on top of cardboard to cut down on the weeds. And then I put dirt, 6 inches of dirt, enough for a plant to take root. And then I plant on top of that. I particularly love, and then I stack my plants from high to low, from back to front. That's scarlet sage growing with comfrey. 2 gorgeous plants. I only had 1 of each of those plants last year, and now they have spread and they're nearly covered the back all the way across here. There's a little bit of some of my purple things that I had growing. Still not much, but you gotta, when you plant a garden, you gotta think about high to low. What's the background of your? It's like painting. What's in the background of your painting, and then what's in the middle ground, and then what's right up front, like this little pot of lantana and apricot. Vinca, pink. It's an apricot, but it looks pink, doesn't it? And then see this right here, this little obelisk right here. Next year we'll have a Louis Odier, if God is willing, towering up that little tiny. Louis Odier is one of the most gorgeous roses, old roses, fragrant, but it doesn't grow tall, so I figured it was perfect for this little short obelisk right here. Sometime I need to tell you about the network of arches that I've built in fact, I need today to tuck that limb, that branch from my Peggy Martin rose, which is planted pretty far from there actually. And I planted that rose last year. It's already grown out of its space, and I had to add another arch going across this garden archway, and I can see it's going to be covered by this time next year. Along with Peggy Martin, I grow green beans. See the green beans? Because Peggy Martin has no thorns. So you could plant green beans until Peggy Martin gets so thick that she won't allow you to do so, because she will shade it. You can plant green beans. But look back there. Isn't that a pretty sight? at the back of that garden space. I have windows all throughout my garden that I can see what's beyond. See those sunflowers back there? And speaking of sunflowers, I want to tell you how delightful my experience with sunflowers has been this. First of all, let me just get a little glimpse of some of these gorgeous zinnias. I planted a red zinnia yesterday. I grow zinnias to plant them, also to enjoy them in my garden. In fact, somebody asked if they could come cut some of my zinnias for a bouquet for our church, mind you. And I said, no, you can't. I don't even cut my zinnias. I pick one at a time to paint, but my zinnias they're a vital part of my garden, of my view of my garden. And I have paths of zinnias all through my garden that carry me through. I'm going to have to get out here and I may do it today, I don't know, and cut down some of the growth. It's got I have so many repeat cucumbers that came from one plant last year. It reseeded itself, and it is all over. Cucumbers are all over my garden, and I've gotten a few cucumbers already from this bunch. They were up by early April, maybe even late March. They had begun to grow because they lived in my soil. The seeds lived in my soil all winter, even though it was a cold winter. There's a huge one over there. It's almost too big to pick, but I will pick it because I don't think I can take many more cucumber plants next year. See that back there? See that window of opportunity back there? More sunflowers are growing back there. They're all throughout. The sunflowers are at the very back of my garden. Sunflowers and tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. Corn, I have corn growing on the other side. But you see, but the cherry tomatoes did the same thing. I had a few cherry tomato plants last year. I allowed some of the seed to drop to the ground, and it took root. And I have cherry tomatoes almost to a fault all throughout my garden. In fact, an older lady, older than me, that's getting pretty old, told me that what I needed to do is just cut some of these limbs down next to the ground and to allow more growth to the top also. But I'm going to do it to make it more manageable so I can get back there and water my rose that I have back there. It's a mutabilis rose, but I can't even get back there right now, but it has blooms on it, and I need to get water to it. It's a dew plant. So this is sort of the view from my morning chair.